so lovely to be here tonight. What a beautiful life. Give yourself some round of applause. You're so lovely.
What's going on, y'all? This is the IA podcast, and today we're going to talk about Eric Reid. For those of you who don't know, Eric Reid is, of course, a football player, and when Colin Kaepernick first started his protests against police brutality and violence against black people by kneeling during the national anthem, Eric Reid was one of the first people to take a knee with him. And because he took that knee, Eric Reid has been unable to get work in the league ever since this new year started, just like Colin Kaepernick. Now, mind you, Eric Reid is a 26-year-old safety, a former Pro Bowler, right in the prime of his career. So anybody interested in winning would love having a guy like that on his team, so you would think. But up until this past day, yesterday, he's been without work. But fortunately, the Carolina Panthers, my home team, went out and signed Eric Reid. And first off, I'm extremely happy about that. I haven't watched football. I haven't supported the Panthers in a couple years now, ever since the protest and the protests against the protests reached a head. And I didn't make a big deal about it. I didn't go everywhere saying I'm not watching football, but just personally, something felt wrong about supporting these owners and giving them ratings and putting money in their pockets while they were preventing people from bringing attention to something that affects most of the people that are in their workforce. Because again, the owners allowed the argument to be turned into kneeling was protesting the anthem. They allowed that to happen. The players who were involved always said what it was about. They always articulated why they were doing it. And to not stand up for what they were doing, which is bringing attention to police violence in our communities. I mean, how could I put money in their pocket? So, I was like, it's cool. I love football. It's my favorite team sport, but I sit it out. And again, no big deal. I didn't go around judging everybody else who was still watching. It just wasn't for me. And to me, that's not asking too much of a sacrifice to stop doing something that I like. Because mind you, I work hard, so I love having my escapism through sports. Now back to the Panthers. Big shout out to the new ownership, because I think we all know under the old ownership, there's no way in the world Eric Reid would be wearing the Panthers colors right now. So I'm happy that David Tepper stepped up and made this decision. Now, this is interesting. After the signing was announced, of course, a lot of people, including myself, jumped on Twitter, let everyone know what we thought about the signing. There was a lot of excitement, really more excitement than negativity. And but of course, there was negativity, too. And someone made a comment essentially that no real fans will walk away from the team. And if somebody does walk away because of the Eric Reid signing, they're not a real fan. And that sparked a conversation, because in my opinion, there's going to be some people who walk away from the team and who will walk away from any team that's sympathetic to the protesters, who are genuine ticket buying, jersey buying, passionate, real fans. But they're just bigger bigots than they are fans. And that's not a big deal, because I still think the people who are that passionate to express their bigotry in that way are the minority. So if they leave every fan base, I don't think it's going to really hurt any team, just like it's not hurting Nike. For every person they lose that's going to burn their Air Monarchs, it's going to be an 18-year-old that's going to go buy like 3 pairs of Air Maxes. So they made a calculated risk. So it's the same thing with bringing in a guy like Eric Reid. You'll lose a few people, but you'll also galvanize a lot more people, for the main reason being a lot of them just want to win. So what I was arguing on Twitter is that the people who remain, it's not because they're any less of a bigot. It's not because their hatred is any less real. The fact remains that their bigotry in this situation is less powerful than their fandom, because they need the escapism of football. They want the pride of having a good team. They'll put their bigotry away long enough to support this. But make no mistake about it, that element is still in the stadium. And this is the hard thing that a lot of us black people have to come to terms with, because I'm from North Carolina. So I'm a hardcore Panthers fan. I'm a hardcore Tar Heel fan. I never, ever have any illusions about who I'm sitting beside in these stadiums and in these bars. because the same person that's excited when Cam dives over the goal line and does a Superman pose and hands the ball to a little kid, the same person that I'm high-fiving when Luke Kuechly, blows up the running back on the 4th and 1, the same person that's going crazy when Graham Gano, kicks the 50-yarder to win the game. Hey, man, that's the same person sitting around listening to, like, the county commissioner or somebody, throw around the word nigga like it's nothing, and then going in and having my child's future under his control. Things like that. These are the same people that support candidates that are open racist. And I understand that. And I do understand that part of the reason why we indulge in sports is it does allow us for a moment in time to get away from these things. So I don't overlook the importance of that kind of escapism, because for this little moment in time, while there's still time left on the clock, while we're inside the stadium watching this game, we can be unified in a sense. But I understand what it is. It's just that. It's just a slice of escapism. It's not a solution. So when something good happens and we all celebrate together, no, we're not one big happy family all the way to the core. No, we just human beings that's sharing this moment together. But once the game is over, the game is over. And it's back to real life, in the real situations, and all the real things that we'll have to encounter. So I say that to say this. I'm excited that Eric Reid is a part of the Carolina Panthers. I am going to start watching Panthers games again, because that was a bold move, and I'm happy that we were the team to step up and sign Eric Reid. So I will be watching games. But I do not think that signing Eric Reid and the fan base's acceptance of that signing represents by itself some bigger shift towards respect, because there's a reason why people hated the anthem protest so bad. It wasn't because they thought it was disrespecting the national anthem. We all been to the game. We watch people get shit-faced drunk during the anthem. We watch people talk. We watch people keep their hats on, run to the bathroom, mess around on their phones. There's nothing that's generally sacred about that moment. But the idea of black men, relatively rich black men, showing that kind of freedom and just free expression in space, in their face, something about that image rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. It's fighting against something inside of them that's very fundamental, that they need to reinforce their self-opinion. And that's a deep, deep, deep rot that exists in our society. And it's not going to go away because we can all sit around together and cheer when the Panthers win a tight game. And I know that. And I know a lot of people will say, well, there's plenty of other reasons not to watch football. The fact remains is I like the sport. I love the sport of football. And again, for me, this is my way of not even blowing off steam, but just getting away from, all the hard work and the concerns and everything else you have. It's nice to check out and just be a fan for a moment. So I have no problems supporting the team now. And I don't mind if somebody wants to criticize me for that. I don't mind at all, because Eric Reid is a step in the right direction. But we all know Cap needs a job, too. And, we just so happen to be a team that runs the Reid option. So, hey, let's keep it real. We could use him, too. But I don't discount the symbolism of the moment, and symbols matter. I'm excited to have Eric Reid. But I just want people to know that I know who's in the stadium with me. I know who's in the bar with me. And I know who's celebrating beside me. And everybody, most people, like myself, we're aware of it. They're aware of it just as well as I am. And for this moment, we can enjoy a game and have fun. And when Eric Reid gets to his first Panthers game in 2 weeks, whether or not he chooses to kneel, because we don't know, and if he does kneel or if he does raise a fist, I'm sure there's going to be some grumbles in the stands, and there's going to be some people mad and gritting their teeth, getting their jaws tight and everything else. But the first time Eric Reid reads a hot route and steps in front of the pass and takes it to the house, that same person is going to be going ape shit in the stands. And we all know it's not going to be because they had a complete revelation in their mind and now they're more tolerant to the plight of struggling to get equal race relations. It's because in that moment this man is participating in something that makes them happy. In that moment, and that participation is more powerful than what they really feel and the negative feelings they really hold in their heart. So that's just my 2 cents on Eric Reid. Feel free to chime in on the comments. If you agree, if you disagree, this is an open forum. This is how I feel. And again, there's a lot of different feelings out there. So, I invite anyone to chime in and let's have a dialogue. And in the meantime, as always, even when I wasn't watching, I always want the Panthers to win. I always root for the Panthers, and it's always keep pounding. So with that being said, I'm signing off. This is the IA Podcast.